Wednesday. You know what that means. Time for the Southern California Writers Association Hump Day Book Tour. I'm your host, Maddie Margarita, here with our tech wizard, Diana Pardee. Every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., SCWA turns our Facebook page over to a new writer to talk about their books and their work. This morning, we have a new returning writer. I'm not going to say old Matt, but we are so proud to have back with us Matt Coyle. Matt has been a big fan and friend of SCWA and to other writers as well. His first book, his debut novel, Yesterday's Echo, was published in 2013. And the wait was almost worth it, as it won the Anthony Award for Best First Novel, the San Diego Book Award for Best Mystery, the Ben Franklin Award for Best New Voice in Fiction. And from that, I guess you're on book 9, right? And each of this subsequent books in the series have collected accolades and wonderful critiques and awards and nominations. You must have like your Academy Award dress, in the closet, ready to come out on any occasion. No, still in the closet.
No, this is as good as it gets.
This is good as it gets. All right. So let's talk about. I know we talk about this, but I have to. When we talk about the Rick Cahill series, you have tortured the absolute living daylights out of Rick Cahill, and you continue to amaze me with the plots, the emotional depth of your books, and the fact that none of them are alike. Sometimes when you pick up a series, you look at this and you're like, okay, kind of have, I know where this is going to go. It feels familiar. You don't get that with a Matt Coyle, Rick Cahill book. Every book that you pick up in the series is, and I think maybe that's it. It feels like a standalone, but it's not. It has complete arcs. There's evolution. There's change. How do you do that? I mean, I think that there might be a temptation to become formulaic on book 9, but you are so far from that. It's hard to imagine. So how do you start doing that, or do you just know Rick that well?
Well, thanks for the kind words. I don't know if there's been an evolution as much as a devolution of Rick Cahill. Well, I do worry about writing the same story, even though, dealing with the same emotions. I guess you're never really writing the same story, but in a lot of ways you are, because dealing with Rick's effort to be a fully rounded human being and never getting there, and him always striving for redemption. And if you were looking because of what happened with his first wife before the first book even came out, but if you're looking from 30,000 feet, you probably think, hey, dude, you've redeemed yourself. It's okay. But internally, he'll never get there. In terms of, well, maybe the reason they may seem, I'm always happy when someone says they can read as a standalone, because it is clearly a serialized series where there's baggage that carries over. And the most difficult thing for me is to walk that tightrope of giving enough information to new readers if they picked up book 9, for instance, to get a feel for the character. They don't have to know the entire backstory, and without giving them spoilers, and without also boring old readers with old information. So that's like test number 1. But yeah, what I start with, I have an idea of the plot, very, very vague in many ways. I don't outline, but I do have an idea of the ending. So I've got a target. But really the thing that gets me going, the thing that I really, beyond this skeletal idea, is what's going on in Rick's life, emotionally, internally, his personal life, that is the major subplot. And what case can I give him, or even just taking a case, how will that exacerbate his problems? And thus his problems make the case more difficult. So I always start with the personal, his personal life and what's going on. And, for this book, Doom Legacy, is that the title? Yeah, I wasn't able to read
there
it.
it is.
Yeah,
Right
I
there
don't,
behind you.
I think it's kind of small type, but yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's got this disease I gave him in Last Redemption, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It just rolls off the tongue for many of us. CTE, the pro football disease, a traumatic brain disease. And, you know, if I've really given him that, I can't just go to the next book and say, you know, new chapter, that's over. No, I had to carry it forward. And so how do I do that? And I've actually given him, he's got a wife and a child now. He's got a family. Oh yeah, and he's got this potentially fatal disease. But so how can I expand that part of the story? I mean, that's a real part of his life and I can't ignore it. So I have a friend who's was in a relationship with someone who had this, they think has the disease. You never know until the person dies. That's the full diagnosis after they die. Pretty sure this person has the disease, and he became violent in the later years of their relationship. Very violent. And it's a real thing. So I've given, it's not everybody as far as I know, but there is this this rage that some people that have CTE that comes about maybe later in their years. And so I've given that to Rick. He's got this flash rage that he can't control. He's kind of hidden it from his wife, Leah, but by hiding it, just takes off. He'll go into his garage and hit the heavy bag in his gym, or he just takes off. And whenever there's any kind of confrontation, and so that was a way into, yes, that's the major subplot, and how that can carry over into the story, you know, will be shown, and how it kind of screws up his personal life.
It's interesting. And we were talking about this a little bit before. When you look at the covers of all of your books, they're very stylized, and they tend to be in the same
on paperback.
Yeah, there you go. Color palette. But Doom Legacy, right? I mean, right from the beginning, before you look at even the words on the title, which probably give you a hint of where we're going in this story. The color is different. I mean, do you feel, I guess I'm interested in that choice of why you telegraphed the storyline, because it doesn't sound like Rick's going to have a picnic.
Well,
he doesn't have a picnic in any of your books. So
no, there are some light moments. Less than
because you can't help it, because you have that the Matt Coyle sense of humor. So it's not all doom and
clearly I'm admitting it now. I lost you a little bit in the middle. So you're talking about titles, right? So why did I choose? Well, when I first came out with Yesterday's Echo, my publisher liked the title, so did I. But so they wanted 2-word titles from there on in. So I generally don't have the title. It either comes organically through the prose. The title will be in there, or the sense of it, or maybe not together, the 2 words, but I'm with the title, with that limited amount of words, I'm trying to give a sense of the story. So it's a major challenge. And Doom Legacy came later, came after, well after. The book I'm writing now came after, well after the first couple drafts. Last Redemption came late. Blood Truth was there from the start. Night Tremors very late. Wrong Light at the end. Lost Tomorrows came early. Blind Vigil came early because, you know, it's kind of there. But you know, it's a challenge to do the 2-word titles. Sometimes I wish I didn't have that challenge. But I do want to get a sense. I do want to give a sense of what's going on. I had some early review on Doom Legacy correcting the fact that it's not really about his legacy or something, but whatever.
Yeah. So
good reads.
So what's in store for Rick? You talked about kind of the setup.
Title is Doomed Legacy.
His He's a private detective, right?
Yes.
Or he was, right. He gets involved with doing a favor for a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one,
Not well.
really, are you looking for a synopsis in this book? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
kind of.
asking me?
I'm
Okay.
leading you that way, hopefully.
Yeah. So, as mentioned, he has these rages, and in the beginning of the book, he feels one coming on after he's, he's had people die in his life. He's been responsible in some ways. And when he has a daughter, a miracle child, his first wife died. Leah, his current wife, was never able to have a child in her first marriage. And so Krista, their baby, is a miracle to them. And Rick, every night he goes in while he thinks Leah's asleep, and he goes into the nursery and he stands over the crib and watches her breathe. Because he's a little, he checks the window. I mean, he's got magic. I mean, he's got magic. That was my first dog. He's got midnight there protecting the house. He's got an alarm. He's got a armory of his own. But he goes in to check his daughter every night, and it's a flashpoint between him and his wife. And he gets angry. He takes off before he gets violent. He's afraid of getting violent with his family. And so when he comes back, his wife says, I'm taking Krista up to my parents. It was a planned trip that was going to come later up to my parents in Santa Barbara. And he goes, well, I thought we were going to do that next week. She goes, no, you're not coming. And so he's left alone. He's got midnight there with his this disease, these rages. And the woman who works for this defense contractor he has a contract with, needs help in kind of an inner office. Seems like inner office politics to him, and he doesn't really want to get involved, but he can't turn down this. It's his biggest account, and so he agrees to help out. And ultimately, she dies, and she's murdered. And Rick thinks something is connected here, and of course once he gets involved with her, and she dies, even though he had nothing to do with it, and he feels responsible, and so he has to get to. That's just how he is. He has to get to the bottom. And he does, and he bumps up again. It's kind of a broader scale of any plot I've had. It's kind of even goes beyond just the people involved and kind of almost international, I'll say. Won't give away too much, but I wanted to expand my horizons there, challenge myself a little bit. Has to do with defense contractor, and another private eye agency, and a shell corporation. And kind of a wannabe playboy CEO, and of course a sadistic killer, because you got to have one of those.
Gotta have one of those.
Yeah, and I had the ending in my mind the whole time, exactly what I wanted Rick to do, and it's. I mean, some people are probably not going to like it, which not unusual for me. But it's exactly the ending is exactly how I wanted it, and it's very stark, and it affects, of course, the next book.
So Matt,
Yes.
when we get together, we would like to talk for hours, but not 15 minutes. But
okay. Thank you.
No, hey, come back here. So one of the things that I hope people that we've been able to get across, a message that we've been able to get across, is that if you're looking for a character-based mystery that you can really dig into, get attached to the character, and stick with them for 10 books, 9 books. The Rick Cahill series, Matt Coyle picked this up. As far as what happens to Rick after this, well, we'll see. If you're working on book 10.
Yeah. I lost the audio.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I do. In book 10, I do know the ending. Everyone dies. So.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay. One thing I have to tell our listeners: don't believe a thing he says, except when he's talking about the book. All right, Matt. Well, so Doom Legacy is currently available for pre-order, right?
That's right. I'll be out on the road. I'll be hitting a city near you, some of you. And the book launches at Warwick's in La Jolla on the 15th.
And then, so if you want to pick up Doom Legacy by Matt Coyle. You can go ahead and pre-order it now, and then get it as soon as it comes out on the 15th, or maybe even before.
Yeah.
If you are interested, you can pick up Doom Legacy even if you haven't read any of the other books. I can tell you that as a fan. So that's my recommendation. But I would pick up Doom Legacy and start picking up some of the earlier books so you can see what you're getting into. And so when the next book comes out, you're ready. So I have one final question for you.
Sure.
So what do you want people to feel when they finish reading Doom Legacy?
I want them to, I mean, you mentioned character-driven mysteries, and I appreciate that because that's the way I try to write them. I want them to feel one man struggle to try to become a better human being and fight his inner demons. And whether he succeeds or fails, you have to read the book. But I want them to feel. I want them to understand that Rick is flawed and real and always striving and kind of not often getting there.
Well, I'm ordering it today as soon as we get off air. If you want to follow Matt, you can follow him where, Matt?
MattCoyleBooks.com on Facebook, Matt Coyle. I think that's somewhere I'm most prolific on social media. Also on Instagram at, I don't even, Coyle MC or something. I don't even know.
On the gram.
On the gram, yeah. I just posted yesterday, so apparently I know something about it. But really, Facebook's where you'll find me most.
Okay. All right, Matt. Thank you very much. Best of luck on this book. We will see you soon. I encourage everybody, like I said before, if you are looking to find a series that you can stick with for a while, and more importantly, will stick with you when you finish reading the book, pick up any book by Matt Coyle. So, Matt, we'll see you soon, and take care.
Thanks, Matt.
Everybody else, thanks for being here. If you enjoyed this interview, please feel free to share it on Facebook. Also, you can find it in an edited version on SCWA Writers Online, our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to find this interview with Matt, as well as interviews with, I think we're close to 100 authors. So hopefully you'll check that out. And until next week, please stay safe. This has been the Southern California Writers Association Hump Day Book Tour.